like to welcome everyone to today's webinar, Introduction to Mindfulness, Nourishing Ourselves in These Times. The easiest way to access the functions in Zoom is to exit full screen mode and access the control panel. You can put your mouse at the upper at the top of the Zoom panel and select the View Options menu and then select Exit Full Screen. To chat, you'll click on the chat icon. Please note that though Zoom does default to all panelists, and so to share your questions and comments with your fellow attendees, please select all panelists and attendees from the drop-down menu. If you haven't already, this is a great time to post in the chat where you're joining us from today. Just test that out. This webinar does provide closed captioning. To access the closed caption features, please click on the closed caption icon. If you need technical support during the webinar, please use the Q&A function. That ensures that I will see your question and be able to assist you. We had over 500 people register for this webinar, so I might miss it if it goes into chat. If you're having issues hearing myself or Madeleine when she starts speaking, you may need to adjust your volume settings. You may change your output settings in Zoom by putting your mouse on the lower left-hand side of the Zoom panel and using the audio settings. If you find that the audio is too loud or too soft, please adjust the volume on your headset, speaker, or computer as needed. I want to welcome everyone to today's National Network of Libraries of Medicine webinar. This session is being hosted by the Greater Midwest region as part of our Kernel of Knowledge series. For those of you not familiar with the Greater Midwest region, we are located at the University of Iowa, hence the Kernel of Corn in our Kernel of Knowledge series. We have an exciting presentation today, so I want to go ahead and get started. Just a reminder, you are all automatically muted upon entry, so please use the chat panel to make questions or comments. I am recording this webinar and it will be posted on our YouTube channel for future viewing or reference within the next week or so. It's taking us about 2 weeks to get things up right now. This webinar does provide 1 CE credit from the Medical Library Association, and I will send the link to claim that CE when I send out the recording. I'd also like to quickly introduce myself. My name is Bobby Newman, and I'm the Community Engagement and Outreach Specialist at the Greater Midwest region, and I connect with public libraries in our state and across the region. I want to give a quick word about who we are. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, you might recognize some of these acronyms, but some people get a little confused about where we fall. The National Institutes of Health is the nation's leading medical research agency. Many of you might be more familiar with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases right now. It's one of the many institutes and centers at NIH. The National Library of Medicine is also an institute at NIH. It is the world's largest biomedical library, which maintains and makes available a vast print collection and produces electronic information resources such as Medline Plus and PubMed. NNLM is the National Network of Libraries of Medicine and is an outreach program of NNLM. Despite the name, NNLM serves all types of libraries, and all libraries are welcome as our members. The NNLM is made up of 8 geographical regions, and as I said, I'm from the Greater Midwest region. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Madeleine, who has graciously offered her time and expertise for today's webinar. She is the Research Services Librarian at UMass Amherst. She's the co-editor of Recipes for Mindfulness in Your Library, supporting resilience and community engagement. She works passionately to support healthy climate, soil, people, and food. Madeleine, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. You should be able to start sharing yours. Also going to stop my video.
Thank you so much, Bobby, and thanks for the invitation. And I appreciate all of you putting aside an hour of your weekday to join me. I'm going to share my screen now. So the topic today is Introduction to Mindfulness, Nourishing Ourselves in These Times. And I can't think of a greater need than right now to pay attention to our own self-care, but I'm going to talk way beyond that because we're really part of a huge network of humanity and all beings, and I want to help us think more broadly about what nourishment means these days and always, really. So this is a good solid definition of mindfulness from Jon Kabat-Zinn. He started the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, also called MBSR, at UMass Worcester Medical School. And so he says, mindfulness is paying attention purposefully and non-judgmentally to your experience in the present moment. Pretty straightforward. I also have heard him add the layer in the service to self-understanding and wisdom, which I appreciate. And I want to add 2 more layers of what mindfulness is and why we would want to practice it. I think of the word responsibility, and if you break it down, it's our ability to respond as opposed to react. And for me, that's what mindfulness has helped bring more fully into my life, is building in pauses as we go through navigating our day or any situation. It's instead of just reacting, it's responding. And I really do believe that we have a responsibility to one another to learn ways of doing that, however that might work for you in your life. And then I just have also been reading a lot and having lived experience that practicing mindfulness really can help with decision making and also concentration. And I think in these times when everything feels so murky for many of us and muddled and uncertain, and we have to make a lot of decisions in an unclear situation, being able to pause, stop, slow down, appreciate, notice, be curious can really serve us in deciding what's next, what's right for myself, for my family, for my community. So these are the things that inspire me to keep practicing mindfulness. And there's many ways to practice. So it's not just sitting on a cushion silently, which is one of my preferred ways of being mindful. But if you look at this beautiful tree from Contemplative Mind in Society, for you that might mean making music or walking with intention or doing Tai Chi or keeping a journal. Being in deep dialogue with someone, very mindfully, listening deeply to what they're saying instead of practicing what your response would be. These are all ways of being mindful. And for some of you that know me, I love labyrinths. And I'd just like to bring this metaphor into view. A labyrinth is not a maze. They're often confused. With a maze, you can hit a dead end and there's traps along the way and you get confused. Whereas the beauty of a labyrinth is there's a path in and it's one long winding road, but you always do get to the center point. And in that center, you can set an intention or say a prayer or solve a problem that you've been pondering as you've navigated this winding path. And then you can make your way back out again. And that's just a very basic explanation of a labyrinth walk. There's many ways to do it and ways to use that space and time. It's a really beautiful metaphor also I use with my students, just as an aside, when we talk about doing research, that it really does take some stick-to-itiveness and some like gumption to stay the path. I think this is just a really beautiful metaphor for life in these times, to just keep on the path, know that you're not alone walking the path, and that we will get to our centers, whether that's our personal centers or the places that we want to grow and make systems change in our communities. So what I like to do is, besides some learning together, I'm going to invite you to share in the chat. And also toward the end, we'll practice 4 or 5 practices. So that's the layout of our time together. So right now, I want to offer this prompt that I learned from a really favorite author named Carolyn Baker. She's written many books. She recently wrote one called Collapsing Consciously. She is a Jungian psychologist, so she talks a lot about our shadow side and really trying to manage the grief that we're feeling in this collective time, this time of collective trauma. So I'm just going to pose this question. And if you'd like to share briefly in the chat, What I feel this present crisis is saying to me personally is, and I'll read out a few as they come into the chat. And really, all feelings are welcome here. It doesn't have to be sunny lessons learned, silver linings. It can be whatever you're feeling now, as dark or light as it comes. Yeah, so I see people saying, I don't want to be in charge anymore. Interesting. What is valuable in life? Finding balance, gratitude, and stop living on autopilot. Resetting and focusing on the here and now. Stop being perfect. Simplifying. Finding energy. Eliminating that which does not work. I'm hearing a lot of like shedding. That's like a strong thread that I'm noticing. Trusting your choices, yes, and slowing down can really help you notice, like, what are the choices and what's my perception and the sense making and my agency. That's hard to do when we're rushing through life. Thinking of those who are suffering, yes, others in very difficult situations. As my friend said, we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. Yeah, letting the tears come. Time to move on to more valuable and important things. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you can look at each other's chats and draw from them. And I believe that the chat does get saved. Bobby can clarify that. So thank you. Those are such gems. I wish I had more time.
So we do not post the chat for privacy reasons.
Okay, thank you, Bobby. So feast your eyes and drink in each other's emotional moments and know that we're sharing this virtual space together in solidarity. And I'm gonna move on. So I found this image and this concept really helpful. It's called the window of tolerance. So this is coined by a Dr. Daniel Siegel. Being in your window of tolerance means that you're having emotional ups and downs, but it's tolerable. I'm navigating these waves personally all day. You know, I'm doing all right, but I might feel a twinge of stress or like a low moment of anxiety. And what I'm keeping my attention on is when I go way high out of my window of tolerance. That's called hyperarousal, if I'm very, very stressed. Or on the other end, if I go way down low. And for me, that feels like being underwater. And when I notice that happening, I pause and say, okay, what do I need to do right now to return to my window of tolerance? So if I'm hyper aroused, maybe I need to do some straw breathing, which I'm going to teach you in a little while, to get my blood pressure down, to get my pulse rate lowered. If I'm in my low hypo arousal, I need a nap, where I need to just like pull back from what I'm doing and take a walk and just like return to life. So you find your ways, and different techniques work at different times. And the idea is, by practicing mindfulness, we're widening our window of tolerance. So we're able to withstand more of this arousal when times are tough, especially, and just day-to-day life and managing. And that makes us all able to be better parents, partners, coworkers, community members, and that's what I call building our collective immune system. So again, it's not just about like my own stress reduction, and I want to feel good, but it's like, how does my energy affect all the energy that I'm interconnected with? And bear with me, this is a very busy looking screen, but I want to show you that this is a chart of what is commonly seen in disasters, emergencies, or, oh, I don't know, a pandemic, like we're all dealing with. So what happens is that there's often this heroic phase, which is what I think we're in right now. So you can see where, you know, we're starting to, we felt the low, and we're also feeling like, you know, there's all these amazing ways that we can respond and help each other. And I know, so all of us are doing such important work in libraries, trying to figure out new ways of being available to our communities, and all over our communities, we're really like trying to lift ourselves up, and it's happening. We have community cohesion on many fronts, not enough, but these next 3 to 6 months that we're heading into, and I know reopening our libraries is on most of, or all of our minds, it's going to be a rough ride. And so it's not unlikely that our energy could really start being tested even more. The good news, look at the green arrow. You see how it lifts us up if we have good resilience skills. This is what can add meaning and purpose to our lives. So by keeping on practicing, I want us all to be in that green arrow together, so that when the time gets tough and we aren't looking at a long recovery from the pandemic and the uncertainty of what's next, we're able to keep getting stronger and helping each other to see ways forward that are fair and just and kind. That's why I want to show this slide to you. I am very inspired by these 3 women. Mostly I'm familiar with Adrienne Maree Brown, who is going to be showing up in that bottom slide. Yes, she is the author of Emergent Strategy, Shaping Change, Changing Worlds. And her muses are Octavia Butler, who was a science fiction writer, and Grace Lee Boggs, who was a labor activist, among many other things that these incredible women have accomplished. I love Adrienne's book. She's very generous and funny. And even if you don't read it cover to cover, she says you only need to read pages 15 and 41 and 42, and that's the whole book. It's her principles. And they're really based on navigating change in a very emergent and thoughtful way. And many of them are based, or all of them are based on patterns in nature. It's hard to encapsulate her book. I highly recommend, and I'm going to go forward and some of her wisdom will guide us in this next prompt. So Adrienne says, change is definitely going to happen no matter what we plan or expect or hope for or set in place. We will adapt to that change or we will become irrelevant. So here's another outlet, a moment to ponder, a time when you felt empowered by a change in your life. So give it a little thought. This might be a change that you volunteered in your life to bring on, or maybe one that was imposed on you or unexpected. But let's just share a little bit about changes in our lives that empowered us. And I'll read a few off. Changing jobs, and deciding to go to library school. Motherhood, leaving a toxic relationship, getting divorced, a motorcycle accident, a near-death experience, becoming a grandmother, moving overseas, recovery from drugs and alcohol, 2 cancer diagnoses, death of a former partner, and a parent to your child. So many stories. We all have so much we're holding and healing from. Totally changing my political beliefs. Being a mom to a transgendered son. The death of a child. And dealing with past hurts. Yeah, so much. So much to look at, to try to face, and try to heal and integrate. Thank you, everyone, for sharing some of that. And I want to return to this idea of responsibility, the ability to respond. And a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, that one's philosophy is not best expressed in words, it's expressed in the choices one makes. And the choices we make are ultimately our responsibility. Can be a tough one, because we often feel like things are imposed on us. The question is, how do we respond to them? And a lot about mindfulness teaches us to just slow down and think, or not think, just sense into what is the right way to choose. What path forward do I want to be on? Or if I'm on a labyrinthine walk, what is the quality of my thoughts and my relationships as I'm traveling on that journey? And I know these slides will be shared, and all of these links have articles, such as one that goes into more detail from Huffington Post about this idea of our responsibility to one another, to be awake and compassionate and curious. This is a really vital piece of practicing mindfulness. It's a tool to inquire into your experiences, whether they're joyful or painful or both. So staying curious and noticing. And now I want to do some of these practices with you. So here's the outline of what we're going to try out together. We'll do a breathing exercise, a little bit of stretching to remind us to get out of our seats every hour, if not more. Probably every 20 minutes is better. And then I'll lead us through a guided meditation, a few moments of silence, and we'll end with a gratitude practice. So first is straw breathing. And I didn't know you could actually buy this little charming straw and wear it around your neck as a reminder to do this kind of exercise. I learned this from a Buddhist teacher that lives near where I live in Western Massachusetts. His name is Fleet Mall, and he is one of the teachers at the Wind Horse Hill Retreat Center. And this is how you do straw breathing. So you want to sit up in a relaxed way and draw air through the nose, filling up the belly. When you breathe out through your mouth, make your mouth a small little O, and it should be a silent exhale. And what it does is it slows down your exhale so that you're able to take an even deeper inhale. And this is a very oxygenating process. You can also do it very discreetly, like if I'm in a meeting and I feel my anxiety starting to bubble up just by the topic that's being discussed, for instance, I start to do my straw breathing. So let's just take about a minute and just on our own practice what this feels like. So breathing in through the nose, filling the abdomen, and exhaling through a small O in the mouth, silently. And you'll notice the exhales probably get longer than the inhale, which is good. And this lowers the blood pressure, lowers the pulse rate. I use this sometimes to help me go to sleep. You can even use it when you're leading webinars. And if anyone wants to share in the chat how that experience has been for them, feel free. I don't think I'll read any of those out, but if you'd like to share how that felt physically or emotionally. Okay. Now you have experienced straw breathing. And I see a few people have, relaxed your shoulders, lovely. I know, it's so simple. Oxygen is everywhere around us, just for the noticing and enjoyment. Okay, the next exercise practice I want to share is from the Niroga Institute. We have a professor at UMass Amherst named Nat Turner, and he showed me this handout. It has a second side, so when you get the slides, there'll be a link to the whole PDF. And the Niroga Institute works mainly with youth, but hey, we all have bodies, and this is called dynamic mindfulness, so it has to do with real movements. So I'll just let you choose which one you want, but I'll walk us through. I like to start at the bottom one with neck movements. So when you're sitting at your desk and you just don't want to get up and take that kind of a break, move your neck back and forward. So tipping your chin down very slowly and gently and lifting it up and letting it roll back. What we never want to do, according to many yoga teachers, from my experience, we don't want to do neck rolls. That was something that we used to do, and to just do your neck all the way around in a circle. The head is generally way too heavy, and most of us will crunch our necks that way. So tipping your neck forward and back, and then gently side to side, bringing your ear to the shoulder. And I'm not sure what's meant by that middle one, side to side. I don't know how you would do that. So I just do the ear to shoulder and then the neck back and forward. Okay. And let's move to the middle one, shoulder movements. And these are shrugging your shoulder and gently dropping your shoulders. And by the way, these are really nice to teach to someone else. I've used this handout in workshops, and I've paired people up, and they read the instructions to their partner so that the other person can just be coached through. And I want to encourage you all with these kinds of practices that I'm teaching you or other ones that you learn, share them with a friend, maybe on a phone call or a Zoom call. Say, hey, can I tell you about this mindfulness thing I've been checking out? And they might say, okay. And then great, you've shared some seeds and you've given someone else a tool so that they can be more present and maybe building up some more of our collective immune system. You can circle the shoulders back, circle them forward. I feel better already. Okay, we're getting more advanced now. I'm going to stand up for vertical trunk twist. This recommends doing it 12 times each. So you keep your arms by your side. I know it might be hard to see me, but basically you're twisting and lift up your heel when you twist the opposite direction. So you really get a good trunk twist, and just do it at whatever pace you like. And all of that took like 2 or 3 minutes. I've sort of lost track of time, but it doesn't take long to just get a little bit more oxygen flowing and remind yourself that, yes, I do have a body. And what does my body need right now? So thanks to the Niroga Institute for those nice, simple exercises. And I'm going to move on now. So I'm going to now walk us through a guided meditation. I'm guessing that some of you have done this sort of thing before. I know that a lot of people use apps like Insight Timer. I do like to use those once in a while. I also like to kind of get free of outside voices. I feel like there's a real radicalness about, for me, meditating just alone in like my own quiet and just like exploring what's really up for me without having another sound and direction influencing. But I like to offer both. We'll do silence afterwards, so you can see what that's like for you to be guided versus just sitting in your own experience. I really think of meditation as a very radical act. It's very liberating for me. It's like, I'm just going to do me, and that is it. And in the midst of all this chaos and all the things that I could or should be doing, I'm just going to sit down and just be in my experience. It just feels very, just very affirming for me that I have that choice and I can make that happen in my life. And I have a morning practice where I get up and I have a gratitude prayer that I say in Hebrew, and then I name 3 explicit things that I'm grateful for. And then I go and do my silent meditation. So that's how I roll. But as we've been saying, there's many ways to do it. So I am going to, I have to exit this screen for a moment and get my script. I'm not sure how to do this at the same time, so pardon me. I don't recommend you reading along. If you would like to close your eyes for this, or maybe loosen your gaze and let it fall gently in front of you. So I invite you to settle into your chair in a dignified yet relaxed posture. You can also stand for this practice. Just going to take maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We're going to just practice being as present as we're able in our bodies. You might notice the movement of your breath, or your hands resting in your lap, or your bottom touching the chair. Just being where we are right now in this moment. Now, feel the ground beneath your feet. If you're wearing socks or shoes, you might notice that sensation, and then that they're still making contact with the ground. Feel yourself solidly rooted to the ground. Imagine the heat of your body created by the metabolism of your cells, extending down through your feet, deep into the earth beneath us. Imagine that it touches the magma of the earth, fire to fire. Feel yourself deeply connected to the earth through that heat. Now, if you would like, you can stretch your arms up and feel the heat given off by the palms of your hands and the top of your head extending up into the sky. Stretch until you feel you're reaching the sun through the clouds and millions of miles of space. Let your body's heat touch the heat of the sun, fire to fire. Feel yourself deeply connected to the sun through that heat. And you can leave your hands up if that's comfortable, or draw them down back to your lap. Or you might want to place your hands on your belly. Finally, let the heat of the earth and the sun meet in your very center. That's your power center, your solar plexus. Let that heat extend throughout your entire body and let it energize every cell Let this heat invigorate and nourish you. And I invite you to open your eyes and come back to the space. And just notice, is there more energy available to you now? You might want to move your shoulders a little bit. And as we head into the next part of our time together, move forward with renewed energy guiding us. And feel free to share in the chat if you want to express anything that you experienced in that guided meditation. Yeah, good stretches for working at the desk. To be selfish, to commit to meditation. Interesting comment. I want to just say something briefly about that. I went to a 3-day silent retreat at the in Barre, Massachusetts, at the Insight Meditation Society. And there was a teacher there who said something that has stuck with me to this day. He said, in Burma, all of the Buddhist temples have dragons at the doorway, one on each side. And he said that is to remind us to fiercely protect our sacred space. And he said, how hard are you willing to protect that space for yourself, to make a time and a space for meditation in your life? And not too long after I came back, my son, who was younger at the time, had drawn a really cool drawing of a dragon. And I put that right up on the door where I have my meditation cushion set up. And I remember that dragon is protecting my space. It is a commitment. And selfish is one way of putting it. It's like taking care of the self so that we can take care of the rest of our people and our communities. Yeah. And someone else said relaxing takes focus. It is this kind of like tension. It's like walking the labyrinth. You can relax as you're walking, but if you relax too much, you're going to get off the path or stumble. So it's like, how do we hold the tension, but in a gentle way, and noticing with a gentleness. Yeah, and someone said, put on your oxygen mask first. That's a good analogy. Some of us know. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. And somebody else said, your mind wanders easily. That is the practice, my friend. You are not alone. A funny way someone expressed it once, they said it's like saying, well, I can't exercise because I'm out of shape. So it's like saying, well, it's hard for me to meditate because my mind wanders. Well, it's because of the wandering that we want to practice bringing the attention back and inviting it back over and over again. And I have so many teachers' voices in my head. One person once described it as inviting like a puppy to come back to where you are. Like, instead of feeling like disgruntled with yourself, oh, there I go, thinking again and using my mind. It's more like, okay, attention, come back. Come on, come here. There you go. And then returning to the breath or counting. If thinking of the breath or experiencing the breath is uncomfortable, think of the hands in the lap or how you feel in the chair. And someone said they feel sleepy. Yes, that does happen. A few deep breaths might enliven you when that happens. Or maybe it's time to stand on your meditation cushion or next to it. I do that sometimes, like mountain pose in yoga. Just stand and follow the breath, or do a body scan of the mind. There's so much richness here. I love it. Thank you so much for all your comments. And now I want to take us into a silent meditation. If anybody saw the documentary about Mr. Rogers. Do you remember the part where he said that he asked the children out in TV land, do you know what a minute feels like? And then he proceeded to take a big clock out and set the timer for 1 minute and then just sat there doing nothing for 1 minute of airtime. I think the TV producers went crazy for him wasting that kind of time. But he was such an amazing spirit. He wanted to show children what it's like to just sit for a whole minute. So I'm going to suggest that we sit for 2 whole minutes and just experience what that feels like together. And I'm not going to guide us. I'm just setting my timer. And I just invite you to just practice however you wish right now in the next 2 minutes. Then I invite you to return to the space. Your eyes were open, were closed. You can reopen them. I don't know how this sound transmits from my beautiful singing bowl, but where I'm sitting, it's still ringing. And I like to try to just listen until I don't hear that bell anymore. It can take several moments. It's still ringing. Like, how finely tuned is the amazing ear? I can still hear it ringing. And when I re-enter the world from my meditation, it's with like a very fine-tuned senses. How was that for you? How was 2 minutes of sitting and noticing? What was that like? You can chat surprisingly fast. Very relaxing. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad I could offer you 2 minutes. Peaceful, very centering. Oh, someone fell asleep. Someone heard birds chirping, fan whirling, dog barking. Someone who felt tired now feels energized. Someone else said, I'm ready to do it longer. Hooray. Yeah, I mean, if you fell asleep, that might mean you're tired. Should you go to sleep earlier tonight? And someone else said that they need a dragon. Yes, I invite you. Draw a dragon later. Okay, maybe I'll do that on one of my next webinars. We should come with a piece of paper and a pencil, and we all draw a dragon that we're going to hang up near a spot where we practice mindfulness. Someone else became aware of ringing in your ears. And someone else, it made you miss yoga class. Well, there's plenty of online opportunities. I know it's not quite the same. Yeah, oh my gosh, the birds. I know they're always there, but we don't always hear them. Oh yes, and seeing colors when you close your eyes, yeah. Now there's a lot of conversations that happen around, like, should you notice the colors and enjoy them or try to let go of the colors? Your choice. There's many ways of being mindful. I know when I went to a craniosacral healer, every time I would go, I would see this like very particular purple blue, sort of like periwinkle blue every time they touched the still point at the back of my neck. It's quite amazing what is happening in our minds, in our mind's eye. Well, thank you, everybody. Yes, shoulders releasing. It's great to practice together, even at a distance. Oh, yes, see? Now someone is reminded of a neighbor who practiced in their yard. And that sounds like it had some kind of influence on you. That's what I mean about teaching it and talking about practicing it, because then other people, the seed gets planted and they might want to do something in their own life. And teaching mindfulness stuff to children is such a blast. It's so interesting seeing what they have to say and their response to trying these different kinds of things. Yeah, thank you, everybody. We're getting close to our time together. I want to end with just a simple gratitude sharing. And also on the end of these slides, I won't show you just the links, but I do have lots of links to short videos about mindfulness and some of the teachers that I've mentioned, like Carolyn Baker. I also really like Tara Brach, who's known for her self-compassion. Another person I follow is a really interesting man named Thomas Hübl, who is considered a modern mystic, and he has some really amazing interviews specifically around how to navigate our collective trauma around the pandemic that I find just so reassuring and centering. And when I talk about all the benefits of mindfulness, there is a great website called Greater Good in Action that's out of UC Berkeley, and it has many, many practices in this database that is so beautifully designed. As library people, we can appreciate when the platform is like really elegant, and this one is. And not only does it share the practices, each of them has a link why this works. Click, and you're in an evidence-based peer-reviewed article that explains how this particular practice has certain effects on people's ways of being. So I highly recommend that one as well. And I'm just going to end by asking people to share, just in like a word or two, what you're grateful for. And like I said in my morning practice, I just find, even if I wake up and I feel like there's a dark cloud, or I'm just like wishing that this pandemic was not really happening, I just feel like a heaviness even upon like opening my eyes to the day. I insist with myself, you must name 3 things that you're grateful for. And I am very specific ones. And as I get out of bed and I walk around my room, I'm naming them, sometimes more. And it really gives me perspective as my day begins and I'm entering the world and interacting with other people soon after. So I'll read off some of your gratitude before we say goodbye. Yes, your dog. Dog doesn't seem affected by the pandemic. Grateful for incredible support from friends, living in the woods and being able to spend time outside. Yes, grateful for your health, grateful for marriage to your best friend for 33 years. Grateful for each breath that you take, for your vegetable garden, for your dog, your sunshine, being alive, connecting with family through Zoom. Springtime. Your resilient military family. The wonderful women that you work with. The smell of coffee. Yeah, sometimes so simple and so blessed. And think about what went well. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but I think I know. All the good things. Yeah. And, just to counter, just to bring in like the other piece of who we are also when things feel hard. Thomas Hubel says, when you're really struggling with something and you feel frightened, that being able to talk about it with somebody, some trusted person, is really a developmental step toward our evolution as a species. So within all this gratitude, like even feeling grateful, for difficult feelings that flag us that we need some other kind of attention and asking us to seek out some kind of support. I'm grateful for those people in my life. For me, it's my sister, person that knows me the best in the world. Yeah, kindness, slow pace, being able to help others. It's really just an abundant well, and thank you everybody for sharing so much gratitude. That's all I had to share today. Bobby, we could end now, or I could take a few questions. I don't know what format you think would work better.
I need about 2 or 3 minutes at the end to do my little wrap up and remind everyone about the CE. So you can take questions for 5 minutes if you'd like.
Okay, will they go in the Q&A or could we ask that so it's not?
They can either put them in chat or Q&A. I'll keep an eye on chat for those kind of questions right now.
Okay, so does anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, just while we're waiting for some of those to come in, a couple people have asked about the resources, and I know you sent me a link to the slides. And is it okay if I share that with the attendees?
Of course. Here's just a preview of them. I have these 4 teachers that I find very insightful on how they are responding to Corona. And then I also have these videos, links, very short mindfulness videos. I think that's the last one. Oh, and then some activities.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you named a database. Is that included in those resources?
Oh my, I think I didn't include Greater Good in Action by UC Berkeley. Yeah, very easy to find. I thought I had included them, but highly recommend. The best online place to go for yoga. I do my own thing, but if anybody wants to recommend yoga online, you can put it in the chat. Yoga with Adrienne, I've heard about that. I've heard that she's really excellent. Oh, there's 2 votes for Yoga with Adrienne.
Very popular. And I put that UC Berkeley link in the chat too.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Well, I am very easy to find on email. You can get my email address. It will also be on the slides. I'm happy to be in conversation with people beyond today. Oh, the silent retreat. I'll just answer that one question. It was so incredible to have 3 days of complete silence. I highly recommend the experience. I was very concerned about how it might feel socially awkward However, when everybody is in agreement that you're not only not talking, but you keep your eyes cast down, because even just glancing into another person's eyes has a charge to it. So you're just sort of gliding through space. We did a lot of meditating and also a lot of walking in between. So you could go outside. It was warm at that time of year. And so it was integrated with movement, and then a lot of sitting. And I just felt so clear and just so grateful to just like get that kind of like really deep retreat. So someday the 10-day retreat, but starting out with a 1, 2, or 3-day total silent retreat is a unique experience that I highly recommend. Great challenge, but not too long where you're really stretched as far as a 10-day retreat. So thank you for that question.
Okay, and I just want to remind everyone, I will email out the slides. So there's several people asking for you to go back and forward, but we're going to be sending them out. So you'll have access to all of those. Also, I wanted to add to Madeleine. I participated. The university here offers the mindfulness-based stress reduction, and I participated in that last summer over, I think, 8 or 10 weeks. And we did about a 6-hour silent retreat as part of that. And yeah, I thought it would be strange, but you're right. When everybody commits to it, I think the only part for me that kind of felt awkward was if someone holds the door for you, to not acknowledge that. But we did all agree that we shouldn't. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can do my wrap up. Oops, what did I do? Let's continue. And let's try this again. Here we go. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for being here with us today. And the neighbor dog is going by, and I thought maybe I would get by without my dog barking. Yep, apologies. That's what happens when you're working from home. There's a couple webinars that are coming up I'd like to promote for those of you that were here today. Katrina Davis Kendrick is going to be presenting her research on how libraries have responded to the COVID-19 pandemic and the impacts of that on library staff morale. And these links will be included in the email you'll receive after this webinar from me. We also have an excellent webinar. This one's focused more for public library staff about how to provide virtual library services for seniors as we continue through the COVID pandemic. Also want to take a minute and remind everybody that the CDC is your best resource for up-to-date evidence-based information about COVID-19. In particular, I like to pull out this section on daily life and coping, and I think they've done a really good job of acknowledging the stress that we're all under right now and talking about that. So what next? For those of you who aren't members of the National Network of Libraries of Medicine, please consider joining. Membership is institutional, not individual. So if your library is already a member, you're good. You can also register for future webinars and classes with us, all of which are free at nlm.gov/training. Just to reiterate, you will receive an email from me probably tomorrow morning, including a link to the slides and other information that was shared today. It will take 1 to 2 weeks to process the recording. And when that happens, I will send that out as well. If you're interested in CE, you can claim that by taking the feedback survey. You will receive 1 continuing education credit from the Medical Library Association for attending today's webinar.
Thanks for watching. This video was produced by the National Network of Libraries of Medicine. Select the circular channel icon to subscribe to our channel. Select a video thumbnail to watch another video from the channel.